Every human possesses a tremendous energy that can change the course of their life. But it isn't always physical strength or superhuman intelligence. It's something simpler and deeper at the same time: the power of willpower. That internal spark that makes us say no in the face of temptation and yes to what leads us to a better future. It is the dividing line between a life led by distraction and a life built by discipline. Willpower is the foundation upon which every real achievement stands. You may possess knowledge and opportunities may be available to you, but without self-discipline, you won't get far. It is the fuel that keeps your steps steady even when enthusiasm wanes or encouragement is absent. Success is not built in a moment. It is crafted through hundreds of small decisions we make every day. And willpower is what ensures these decisions are in your favor, not against you. But willpower is not some mysterious, incomprehensible force. It is an energy that can weaken if you drain it, and it can strengthen if you nourish and train it. It is like a muscle that grows with practice and atrophies with neglect. The good news is that every human, no matter how weak they feel against their daily habits, can change if they understand how to manage this great internal power. This book is not just contemplations on discipline. It is a practical map to help you discover your will, understand its nature, and harness it to live a clearer, stronger life. A journey between science, experience, and real stories. Its goal is to give you the tools not only to resist temptation, but to lead yourself towards a more balanced and meaningful life. The strength you are looking for is not outside, it is within you. Before we begin, make sure to press the like button and subscribe, because what you learn today may be the turning point you've been waiting for. Chapter 1: What Willpower Really Is. Every human carries within them a hidden force that can completely change their life's trajectory. It is not money, nor intelligence, nor even luck. It is willpower. That moment you say to yourself, "I will resist, I will continue, I will not give up." It is in that moment that this power is born. Willpower is the ability to control yourself, your desires, your impulses, your decisions, when the easier path is surrender. When we talk about willpower, we are not talking about something vague or an unattainable ideal. We are talking about a practical, tangible force present in the details of your day. When you get out of bed despite fatigue, when you refuse a temptation that steals your time, when you choose honesty over a lie or discipline over laziness. These small moments are what make the big difference in your life. But why is willpower one of the greatest points of human strength? Simply because it is the gate through which we pass towards any achievement. Many people have great ideas, but very few have the ability to execute them to the end. Intelligence may give you brilliant plans, but willpower alone puts those plans into action. It is the difference between forgotten dreams and realized dreams. You might think what moves people is motivation. Motivation is undoubtedly important, but it is like a quick spark that lights up a moment and then fades. Willpower, however, is the continuous fuel that keeps the light burning. Motivation may push you to start, but willpower is what makes you continue. Motivation relies on emotion, while willpower is a conscious, steady decision that does not submit much to your mood or circumstances. Imagine an enthusiastic young man starting a new project. In the first days, he is filled with passion, works long hours, and sees himself on the verge of success. But after 2 weeks, his passion begins to weaken. He faces difficulties, feels frustrated. Here, the difference appears. If he relied on motivation alone, he would stop. But if he leaned on willpower, he would resist even in moments of boredom and exhaustion, and he would reach what others did not. Willpower does not mean you don't feel weak or don't long for comfort. It means you are able to see beyond the moment. You see the greater result that awaits you. You see the life you deserve, and you decide to pay the price. It is like an internal voice telling you, choose the hard path now to gain the easy path later. And so we understand that willpower is not a luxury. It is the first condition for any real success. And from here begins the path to a greater secret. which the next chapter will reveal to us. If willpower is this profound and impactful, how does it become the hidden factor that creates success and turns an ordinary person into an extraordinary one? This is what we will discover together in Chapter 2. Chapter 2: The Hidden Secret of Success. Many believe that success is exclusive to the intelligent or those with exceptional abilities. But reality says something else. Intelligence alone is not enough. You may see brilliant people with amazing ideas who, nonetheless, have achieved very little in their lives. On the other hand, you may find ordinary people in terms of intelligence who have carved their path steadily until they reach the summit. So what is the difference? It is that hidden secret: willpower. Intelligence is like the map that shows you the way, but it doesn't cover the distances for you. Talent may open the door for you, but it doesn't keep it open by itself. Only willpower is capable of pushing you step by step, on sunny days as well as dark ones. Real success is not born from a moment of inspiration, but is built on thousands of small decisions you make with persistence every day. That is why you see that willpower surpasses any other skill. It is not just an additional ability, but the foundation upon which all other capacities are built. You may learn a new skill, but without discipline, you won't continue training. You may possess brilliant intelligence, but without will, your ideas will not become reality. Will is what makes talent work and transforms potential into achievements. Take, for example, an average student never known for excessive intelligence, but who got used to studying every day, regularly. Over time, he surpassed many of his smart classmates who only studied when they felt motivated. Or an athlete not born with superhuman talent, but who committed to training early in the morning, day after day, until he became a champion in his field. Stories like these are repeated everywhere. Willpower defeats talent when discipline is absent. Willpower is the silent weapon that works in the shadows. No one applauds you when you say no to a harmful temptation or when you sit down to work at a time when everyone feels lazy. But these invisible moments are what accumulate your success. They are the small decisions where no one sees you, which draw your true picture before yourself and before others. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about willpower is that you don't need to be a genius to possess it. It is available to everyone. To everyone who decides to control themselves and be patient. The only difference between those who succeed and those who stop halfway is who has the ability to continue despite fatigue. But is willpower limitless? Can we always rely on it with the same strength? Here comes the truth that might shock you. Willpower, despite its greatness, is like a battery. It drains with use. How does this battery work? And why do we sometimes feel weaker in facing temptation after a long day? This is what we will discover together in Chapter 3. Chapter 3: A Limited Power Like a Battery. Imagine that your will is like an internal battery. Every time you use this battery to resist a temptation, make a difficult decision, or curb your anger, a part of its energy is drained. At the beginning of the day, it is full of energy. But as the hours pass, with small and big decisions, you find yourself weaker in facing challenges. This is not just a mental image. It is a truth proven by studies. Willpower is limited, like any battery. Here appears the concept of ego depletion, or, simply put, willpower fatigue. It means that the more you use your will in one situation, the less your ability to use it in the next situation. This is why you might find yourself patient in the morning, steadfast in the face of pressures, but by evening, you explode over a small situation that wouldn't normally provoke you. The will has been consumed. The battery is empty. Let's take an example from our daily life. Imagine you spent your day at work between meetings and consecutive decisions. When you go out in the evening and enter a store full of choices, you might find yourself buying things you don't need. Not because you don't know what is right, but because you have consumed your decision-making energy throughout the day. The battery simply can't take it anymore. Another example, a person on a diet. In the morning, they ignore the pastry, commit to a healthy meal, and drink water instead of soda. But by the end of the day, after a series of decisions and discipline, they find themselves sitting in front of a box of candy, eating from it unconsciously. It's not a lack of awareness as much as it is willpower fatigue. The battery is no longer able to hold out. Even patience itself is affected. You might find yourself at the beginning of the day dealing calmly with traffic congestion or annoying comments from others. But at the end of the day, any small situation is enough to trigger your anger. Not because you are necessarily a nervous person, but because your reserve of willpower has been consumed. This truth may seem discouraging at first. Does this mean we are weak and doomed by a battery that runs out? The answer is no. Realizing that willpower is limited is, in itself, a power because it makes you more aware of how to distribute your energy and more careful to protect yourself from depletion. But the important question remains, how do we recharge this battery? And what is the fuel that gives the brain the ability to resist temptation and make decisions? Here we enter the world of food and mental energy, where science meets our daily lives to discover the amazing relationship between food and will. This is what we will reveal in Chapter 4. Chapter 4: Food and the Brain. Willpower is not just an idea in our minds, it is also a biological process. The brain, the organ responsible for decisions and self-control, needs fuel to function efficiently. This fuel is glucose, the simple sugar that flows in our blood. When glucose levels are adequate, the brain is more capable of focus, decision-making, and resisting temptation. And when it drops, the internal battery begins to decline rapidly. This is why we sometimes feel we are losing our temper or become less patient when we are hungry. The issue is not just a bad mood, but a real deficiency in mental energy. Hunger weakens the ability for self-control, makes emotions stronger, and temptations harder to resist. You have probably experienced this. In the morning, you make great, healthy decisions, but in the evening, with low energy, you fall for a piece of candy or fast food. It's not a lack of awareness, but a lack of fuel. Even the simplest daily decisions are affected. A judge ruling on dozens of cases, for example, tends to make harsher decisions as lunchtime approaches and becomes more lenient after eating. These studies reveal something important. A hungry mind is not a fair or patient mind. But here we are not talking about overeating, but about intelligently feeding the brain. The solution is not to fill up on fast sugars that give a short boost and then leave you exhausted, but to provide your body with a steady fuel that maintains stable energy. Fruits, nuts, whole grains, and even healthy snacks during the day help keep the battery full to the capacity you need. Think of it this simply: every bite is either an aid to your will or a burn on it. Food is not only for nourishing the body, but also for strengthening the soul. When you choose your food consciously, you are not only taking care of your stomach, but also taking care of your decisions, your dreams, and the path you are on. This awareness gives you a different feeling, that you are capable of controlling even the smallest details, and that willpower is not just an internal force, but an integrated system that starts with what you put on your plate. Thus, a simple moment like choosing a meal becomes a profound step towards success. But even with proper nutrition, there is another factor no less important than internal fuel: the environment you live in. Food supplies you with energy, but the environment can either steal this energy or preserve it. How can you be surrounded by what helps you instead of hindering you? This is what we will discover in Chapter 5. Chapter 5: An environment that helps or hinders your success. Willpower is not only an internal battle, it is also a reflection of what surrounds you. The environment you live in can be your ally or your opponent. The chaos around you, the temptations spread in every corner, the small things that steal your attention, all of them drain your energy before you even start using your will. You are fighting on two fronts, inside yourself and against what surrounds you. Chaos is not just scattered papers or a messy desk. It is a continuous message to your brain that something is missing or incomplete. Every time your eye falls on this chaos, Your brain consumes a part of its energy trying to process it. Over time, you find yourself exhausted for no apparent reason. This is why organization is not a luxury, it is a direct investment in your mental strength. As for the surrounding temptations, they are more dangerous than we imagine. A piece of candy on the table, a phone full of notifications next to you, or even a friend pulling you towards a bad habit all are open doors to draining your will. Having the temptation in front of your eyes means you will need extra resistance each time, and over time, the internal battery becomes exhausted. Therefore, intelligence is not only in resisting temptation, but in removing it from the start. When you remove the piece of candy from the table, you are not only avoiding calories, but also protecting your will from depletion. When you turn off notifications, you are not only preserving your time, but also building a pure mental space for work and creativity. Remember, the environment can be stronger than your intentions. It is easy to say, I will focus, but it is difficult to do so while noise surrounds you or while the phone is glowing next to you. The solution is not to become a superhero in resistance, but to design your environment so that it supports you instead of letting you down. The steps are simple but powerful. Organize your place every morning so it becomes a silent message to your brain that you are ready for achievement. Get rid of the distractions you know steal your time. Build a clean, quiet environment around you that resembles a launchpad. You will discover that half of your battle with willpower has been resolved simply by making your surroundings serve you, not hinder you. And with all this, an important question imposes itself. If the environment consumes your strength or supports it, what about the goals themselves that you set for your life? How do you choose them? How do you balance them? And how do you prevent them from becoming a burden that scatters your energy? This is what we will delve into together in Chapter 6. Chapter 6, The Art of Managing Goals. Having many goals may seem like a sign of ambition, but in reality, it is like carrying a bag weighted down with stones. Each stone is a goal, and with time, you discover you cannot take a single steady step. The human mind does not possess infinite energy, and the more goals you chase, the more your strength is distributed and your will evaporates in small details. Success is not measured by the number of goals you set, but by your ability to commit to what is most important. Willpower is like a beam of light. If you focus it on one point, it penetrates steel. If you scatter it over a wide area, it only illuminates a fragile surface. Therefore, focusing on a specific goal is the secret to real achievement. Many fall into the trap of conflicting goals. They want to succeed in their work, build their body, learn a new language, and start a project, all at the same time. The result is internal exhaustion and repeated failure. Not because they are weak, but because they did not understand that conflicting goals steal from each other. Success needs harmony between goals, not a silent war inside the mind. Choosing goals is a process that requires clarity and courage. Ask yourself, which goal, if achieved, would truly change my life? Which goal, if accomplished, would make the other goals easier or less important? When you answer honestly, you will discover that there is a pivotal goal that deserves the largest share of your strength. Intelligence is not in chasing every dream that crosses your mind, but in prioritizing. Focus on one or two primary goals and put the rest on a waiting list. This is not a concession, it is a long-term investment. You will find that when you achieve one goal deeply, you open doors to other goals more easily. It's like playing a musical instrument. You cannot play 10 different melodies at the same moment, but you can master one melody that fills the entire whole with beauty. Likewise, your life, focus on your main melody and let the other melodies wait for you until their turn comes. And with all the clarity of goals, there is another obstacle no less dangerous: the surprises and slip-ups you face on the way. Here, having clear goals is not enough. You also need pre-made plans to protect you when you weaken or deviate. This is what we will delve into in Chapter 7. Chapter 7, Plans Before You Fall. The strongest decisions are not those you make in a moment of weakness, but those you build before the weakness even arrives. Here comes what is known as the strategy of pre-commitment. Simply put, it is preparing yourself and setting limits and rules before you face the difficult situation. It is like putting on armor before entering the battle, instead of looking for a weapon after the attack begins. Imagine you want to save money. If you wait until you enter the store and face the temptations, you will likely be defeated by the flashy offers. But if you decide in advance to put a portion of your salary into a locked account you cannot touch, you have protected yourself from your future weakness. Pre-commitment here saved you from a losing battle before it even started. The same applies to healthy habits. If you wait for the moment of hunger to decide what to eat, it is most likely you will fall into the trap of fast food. But if you prepare a healthy meal in advance, you have essentially chosen victory before hunger. A simple plan, but it protects your strength and builds your will. The beauty of pre-commitment is that it makes you the master of the situation instead of being a victim of temptations. You become the one who sets the rules. You do not wait for life to test you, you write the rules of your own game. It is as if you are signing a small contract with yourself. I will not leave my decisions to temporary weakness, but to my prior strength. These small contracts with yourself may seem trivial, but they make a great difference. To tell yourself, I will not use my phone after 10 p.m., or I will not leave my bank card within easy reach when I go shopping. These are not just phrases. They are protective walls around your will. When you learn the art of pre-commitment, you will discover that success is not in the constant fight with temptations, but in preventing them from reaching you in the first place. Instead of consuming your energy in resistance, you build a life that does not require great resistance. It is a smart way to save your willpower for what is greater. And with all these pre-plans, there remains another indispensable step: constantly monitoring yourself. Because if you do not track your behavior and pay attention to your weakness signals, you may find yourself demolishing what you built without even realizing it. This is what we will dive into in Chapter 8. Chapter 8: Self-Monitoring. Willpower does not operate in a vacuum. It requires constant awareness of what you are doing. Self-monitoring is the key that links your intention to your actions, your goals to your results. When you start recording your behaviors and tracking them, you give yourself the ability to see what was hidden and understand where your energy is going and where your will is being drained. Tracking is not just writing a diary, it is a mirror that reveals hidden habits. You might think you are committed, but when you write down every small decision you made, you will discover that some choices are stealing your strength without you feeling it. This mirror gives you a clarity that no fleeting feeling can provide, and it makes it difficult to ignore the simple truths, where you fail and where you succeed. The tools are very simple and do not require complexity. A small notebook on your desk, an app on your phone, or even a piece of paper and a pen. The important thing is consistency. The more regular you are in recording your actions, the more aware you become of the impact of every decision on your will. Tracking habits also gives you a sense of power. When you see your daily progress in front of you, no matter how small, you feel that you are in control of your life, not the other way around. And so, willpower transforms from something vague into a tangible tool you can measure and improve, step by step. This clarity allows you to discover patterns. When you are weakest, what steals your energy, and what enhances your strength. Knowledge is power, and self-monitoring gives you this power daily in a simple and realistic way. Also, tracking makes it easy to set your priorities and correct your course quickly. Instead of waiting until mistakes and failure accumulate, you can intervene immediately, adjust your behavior, and protect your will from continuous depletion. With this daily practice, willpower begins to grow and improve. Like a muscle you train for resistance and patience, the more you monitor yourself, the stronger you become in facing temptations, and the greater your ability to control your decisions. And this leads us to the next chapter, where we will discover how to strengthen willpower as a real muscle and turn it into a solid force in your daily life. Chapter 9: Strengthening Willpower as a Muscle. Willpower is not fixed by nature. It is like a muscle in your body that can be trained, strengthened, and built up over time. Every time you resist a weak desire, every time you choose discipline over surrender, you give your will a small workout and build a solid foundation for what is more difficult later. Mental strength grows gradually, step by step, like muscles that become stronger with continuous effort. Small daily exercises make a big difference. Try, for example, using your non-dominant hand for simple tasks like writing notes or eating. Try standing up straight when walking or sitting. These small challenges, despite their simplicity, require your brain to control the habit and resist automatic behavior, thus gradually developing your capacity for self-control. Even ordinary daily matters can be turned into an exercise for your will. Wait a minute before eating a piece of candy. Hold the phone for a few seconds before opening it, or choose the longer path to reach your goal. All these small moments add weight to your willpower muscle and make you stronger in facing bigger challenges. It is like mental exercise. The muscle does not become strong overnight, but it evolves with every workout and every resistance you overcome over time. You will find that things that were difficult at the beginning become natural, and your will is able to withstand situations it couldn't handle before. This daily training gives you a sense of control and capability. You will not need to rely on inspired moments or fleeting motivation because you have become stronger permanently and are ready to face life's difficulties with confidence and steadfastness. The strength becomes a part of you, just like your muscles that move without conscious thought. And the beautiful thing about this psychological muscle is that it is not limited to one situation or a specific challenge. It extends to include all areas of your life. Every difficult decision, every new habit, every long-term goal can benefit from this acquired strength, making discipline a habit and not just a temporary effort. But despite all the training, there will be moments when the path collapses and your plan fails, no matter how strong you are. Here appears a real test of willpower and how to deal with failure without wasting all that you have built. This is what we will explore in Chapter 10. Chapter 10, When Your Plan Fails. Failure is not the end, but a natural part of any journey towards success. Every great person has passed through stumbles, and every great achievement was born from a series of failed attempts. Feeling frustrated is natural, but stopping at failure is what turns it from a lesson into an obstacle. Failure is an indicator, not a final verdict on your abilities or your worth. Every stumble carries within it an opportunity to learn. When you stumble, ask yourself, what can I extract from this situation? What has this moment taught me about myself, about my strengths, and about the mistakes I must avoid in the future? Looking at failure in this way transforms it from a negative feeling into fuel for growth and improvement. One of the tools to resist frustration is having an alternative plan, or what is known as a Plan B, when you have a pre-made plan to face deviations or stumbles. You maintain momentum and reduce the impact of failure on your psychological strength. Having an alternative makes you more prepared, calmer, and more capable of regaining control quickly. Alternative plans do not cancel the original plan, but they give you intelligent flexibility. Instead of stopping at the first obstacle, you can adjust your course without losing motivation. Like a climber who faces an unexpected rock but knows there is another path to the summit. This flexibility is part of the willpower that teaches us how to preserve our energy and continue despite everything. Failure teaches us patience and perseverance. Every difficult experience strengthens our willpower muscle and makes us more prepared for future challenges. The important thing is not to let a small moment of weakness set you back, but to use it as a lesson, as an opportunity to rebuild and to move with wiser, more steady steps. Dealing with failure consciously makes your future decisions stronger. You will learn how to avoid the same mistakes, how to build a stronger routine, and how to protect yourself from psychological collapse. Failure, when exploited correctly, becomes a wise teacher, priceless in value. And with all this, an important truth emerges. Willpower does not only affect your personal goals. It also permeates your relationships with others. How you control yourself under pressure, resist temptations, and maintain your discipline, all of these matters are directly reflected in your relationships. And this is what we will explore in Chapter 11. Chapter 11, Relationships and the Power of Willpower. Willpower is not limited to accomplishing tasks and achieving goals. It extends to include all our relationships with others. Self-control, managing emotions, and making conscious decisions directly affect the way we deal with friends, spouses, colleagues, or even strangers. The person who knows how to control themselves becomes more capable of communicating clearly, listening with understanding, and dealing with conflicts calmly. Our daily relationships are full of small tests of will. When you get angry, feel provoked, or are subjected to an insult, your true willpower appears. Choosing to respond calmly instead of exploding, using constructive words instead of reacting, these are not just good morals, but a direct practice of willpower. This practice protects your relationships and makes them more resilient. In friendships, self-control allows you to be truly present, not to control every situation with your mood or desires. In marriage, the ability to curb small impulses, tolerate differences, and make shared decisions rationally is what makes the relationship grow and flourish. At work, willpower enables you to deal with colleagues with poise and maintain mutual respect even in the most difficult situations. Willpower helps you build trust with others. Trust does not only come from your promises or your words, but from your consistent and steady actions. When people know that you control yourself, keep your word, and deal with justice and calm, they trust you more and invest in their relationship with you without fear of negative surprises. Even small daily conflicts reveal the role of will. When you face an embarrassing situation or a challenge in dealing with a difficult person, your willpower is what prevents you from being dragged into negative situations. You thereby protect your energy and show respect for yourself and for others at the same time. Training in self-control in relationships is like training muscles. Every situation you overcome with strong will strengthens you for the next time. Over time, your natural reactions become calmer, your actions wiser, and your ability to positively influence those around you much greater. And so we reach a fundamental truth. Willpower is not only a tool for individual success, but the foundation for a complete life led by discipline. When you control yourself, you succeed in your goals, you preserve your relationships, and you build a balanced life. And this is the point at which we will conclude our journey in Chapter 12. Chapter 12, A Life Led by Discipline. When we reach the end of this journey, a stunning clarity appears before us. Willpower is not just a passing idea or a limited skill, but a complete lifestyle that can be built and strengthened day after day. Everything we learned about focus, self-monitoring, pre-commitment, and a supportive environment are just parts of a larger picture, a picture representing a life led by discipline. Discipline is not deprivation nor restriction of the self. It is the ability to choose what serves you and leads you towards your highest goals. Every conscious decision you make, every small resistance to temptation, every step to develop yourself is a brick in building your own life. Over time, these small steps turn into strong habits, and habits into a solid lifestyle that no circumstance can easily shake. The secret lies in continuity, in learning from every experience, and in turning every stumble and failure into a lesson. Every time you test your will, every time you face a temptation or difficulty, you create an internal strength that increases your ability to control your life, instead of letting circumstances control you. This is the true vision of discipline, the ability to lead yourself, not just resist the moment. A life led by discipline also means harmony between mind, body, and relationships. When you train yourself to control your desires, learn patience, plan wisely, and monitor yourself, the results of that are reflected in every aspect of your life. Your relationships become more resilient, your productivity higher, and your self-satisfaction deeper. Willpower here becomes a real force, a mirror of your complete personality strength. Do not look at discipline as a restriction on your life, but as an art for redesigning yourself. Just as an artist uses his tools to create a painting, you use your will to craft your life. Every conscious decision is a brushstroke, every acquired habit is a new color, and every achieved goal is a part of the final picture that reflects your personality and values. The most beautiful thing about this art is that will is not limited or temporary. It can be continuously developed and strengthened, like a muscle that becomes stronger with every exercise. Over time, self-control becomes nature, discipline a habit, and success a part of every day. You create your life yourself, and there is no greater power than that. In the end, we realize that true willpower is not just resisting temptation nor a temporary commitment, but the art of leading the self towards a better life. It is the force that ties together everything you learned in this book, from pre-planning and self-monitoring to building habits, to creating an environment that supports you and relationships that build trust. This is a life led by discipline, a life worth living every day. Before we conclude this audiobook, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to receive every new audiobook. The audiobook magazine channel grows and evolves thanks to you, so be a member of a community that loves reading and self-development. Complete summary of the book's chapters. Willpower is one of the greatest human forces. It enables you to control yourself, make conscious decisions, and move forward despite difficulties. It is not just momentary motivation or fleeting desire, but a real capacity that can be developed and strengthened. It is what distinguishes people who achieve their goals from those who are content with dreams alone. True success does not come from intelligence alone, but from continuous discipline. Willpower surpasses any other skill, as it is what turns talent and mental strength into effective tools instead of abandoned potentials. Daily stories show that ordinary people can achieve great things thanks to their will, while the intelligent may fail in the absence of discipline. But willpower is not infinite. It is like a battery that drains with use. The concept of ego depletion clarifies that every decision you make consumes a part of your energy, making resisting temptations harder over time. Realizing this helps us protect our will and use it intelligently instead of draining it unconsciously. The brain needs fuel to stay strong. Glucose is the primary energy source that supports willpower. Hunger weakens self-control. While small, healthy meals help maintain stable energy. Food is not just nourishment for the body, but also fuel for the mind and your will. The surrounding environment plays a decisive role in supporting or weakening your will. Chaos, distractions, and temptations drain your strength, while organizing the place, removing distractions, and preparing the environment to serve your goals makes discipline easier and enhances your focus. Will becomes stronger when the surroundings are supportive and prepared for success. Managing goals wisely enhances willpower. Focusing on a clear, specific goal and avoiding conflicting multiple goals makes your energy concentrated and reduces psychological drain. Choosing priorities and setting consistent goals allows you to achieve tangible results without losing internal strength along the way. Pre-plans, pre-commitment, and self-monitoring are effective tools for turning will into a daily force. Preparing alternatives before facing temptations, tracking your behaviors, and recording your achievements and stumbles all give you a greater ability to control your decisions and maintain momentum even in the face of failure or pressure. In the end, will is not just resisting temptation, but the art of leading yourself towards a better life. By training it, monitoring it, and protecting it, it can become the driving force for every decision, every relationship, and every goal you strive to achieve. A life led by discipline, where internal strength is a mirror of your success and happiness. And this is the final vision that this book builds.